So hello. Quickly before we get started, a quick note from Editing KG here. My voice might sound a bit off because I've been drinking a lot of cold, but let the tape roll. Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another What's in the Box, and well, let's get right into it. This is Hobby 2000's A-10C Special Schemes in 1/48 scale, and well, the box size is pretty standard for any Hobby 2000 kit, with the white background with the, well, basically a blueprint, I guess, of the aircraft, and then the main scheme on it. So it's a massive box, also, I have to say. On this long side, you've got the schemes. So the first one is Memphis Belle 3 from. All of these are like 2020 and later, so they're all really new schemes and they're all demonstration schemes. None of these are actual service schemes. This one's an 100th anniversary, and it's the scheme that I'll be doing because it's a black scheme. Interesting. This one is another 100th year anniversary thing, and you can see here it's got the classic, vintage style US Navy, I guess, or all the carrier based aircraft. Then here we've got another one which again is also really well, older, obviously, and it's got the stripes here, so another anniversary. I can't really show you the other sides because it just doesn't fit on the workbench, but basically it's just the same thing as on the front. Here you've just got information, nothing too, too important, and it's just also strange, I realise now, all of this is just one word. I don't know why, there's no gaps or anything. And then we've got information here, made in Korea, contact info, whatever. So, first of all, straight away you're greeted with a pretty large decal sheet. This is obviously for all the 4 different markings. And here you've got, for example, the snake head or face. Then you've got different writing here, Fort Wayne, Memphis Belle here in the corner. Then the red and white also. What else? There's a lot of interesting, marking options. The decals look pretty high detail and they don't feel or seem to be too thick, but we'll see how it goes. They are printed by Cartograph, as stated in the corner here, so they should be of good quality. But that obviously, we'll find out when we build the kit. Next up, you've got this, which is all the marking and painting sheet. I'll just adjust my camera quickly to show you everything. So the first option here is Memphis Belle 3 from 2023 from a demonstration team. Then here the 100 years Black Snakes Fort Wayne 2021. Then another 100th anniversary Maryland in 2021. And the last scheme is here. It's also a demonstration team from 2019 to 2020. Here you just have all your decal placement and so on. And it's also pretty useful that it actually shows you in detail. Here's some stuff like gear and other stuff where it's not as obvious to see where decals go. So obviously less research needed. And then before I show you the parts, let's just have a quick flick through the instruction manual. Unlike some manufacturers, there is no information about the aircraft here. It's just a picture that's on the box, and then also the real life aircraft. Here it tells you all paints you'll need for all the schemes. And it actually lists a quite wide variety of brands: AK, Ammo, Attacker, Mr. Color, Ravel, Tamiya and Vallejo. So that's useful, as you know, we all use different brands. You start off with the cockpit as is standard. You start off with the gear, which isn't standard, but then you go into the cockpit. And it's also very useful because this kit comes with masks, which I'll show you in a bit. And, well, that's always useful. The cockpit looks pretty good detail, as if it has pretty good detail. Then here we just move on, pretty standard assembly. I'm very curious, will there be a seam line down here, because this kit's not look like it's going to have many seams, and you'll find out soon why. It also comes with a figure, which I haven't seen on the sprues, as I haven't really looked at them yet, but there's always that option. You go onto the wings, which look interesting to build, I guess, and you know, there's a bit of ordnance here that you can put on, which obviously make an aircraft, in my opinion, look better. I think we all agree on that. Second wing, standard stuff, ordnance again. And I've actually realised, the wings, are they different? I'll have to look at that, because most manufacturers, you get just, you know, build the wings up and ×2 or whatever, whilst here you actually get 4 separate pages, 2 for each wing, which is interesting. Attaching this one on, more ordnance here, more. Then the front of the Gatling machine gun or whatever, as here it's called a rotary gun, but yeah. Then the, well, I guess iconic rear wing of the A-10. And that gets put on there, and then you can put another fuel tank, I'm guessing, which, well, interesting also, it makes it look heavier. Then the engines, and the engine covers are very interesting. You'll see why in a sec, if you can't already tell why. Here you've got some slats, I'm guessing, canopy, leave it open or closed, and it comes with a ladder, which is very cool. Here you get your sprue map, and on here it doesn't seem like there's that much sprues, but it does look like a decent kit. Now, let's get into it then. I have to point out though, this is your standard plastic, it's not the stretchy foil, it's actually just normal plastic bags, which I haven't seen too much in the recent times. I'll just start off with the first sprue that I picked out. So this is sprue C. And, well, this is why the box is massive, because instead of adding more sprues, the Hobby 2000 just made very large sprues. As you can see, this is a standard craft knife next to it. It's tiny. Here you've got all the wing elements. These are like the spars or whatever they're called. Here, the top of the fuselage, this goes on. All the wing elements, the rear wing or stabilizers, shall I say. All very nicely detailed, if that catches focus, which I guess it doesn't want to, but as I feel it, there are rivets, quite a lot of them, which will be interesting to paint, and they're actually very nicely modelled on here. Well, next sprue up, and I can feel something that's snapped off already, is sprue B, which again is massive, because this is my recording area here, and it barely fits. And this, well, there were 2 sprues packaged together, and I guess somewhere in the shop, or I don't know when I bought it or something, this must have snapped off. It's no big deal, but if it happened with something smaller and it fell off, then you know, could have been annoying. Here there's more detail, which I guess will like, capture focus on, maybe. So here you can see it's all detail, you can feel. Very nice detail on the wings also. And these panels are actually recessed, yep, as I expected from a modern tooling, with all the rivets also being, what's the opposite of recessed? Well, sticking out, let's say. Nevertheless, next screws coming up. And in this one plastic bag there are actually 4 screws packaged together, which could have been a bit of an issue if they got tangled up or something. Luckily mine didn't, looking at it, but it could be annoying. Let's start off with one of the smaller screws in there. This has some of the, I'm guessing this is the cockpit, and well, just the instrument panel here. Very nicely detailed. Catch focus please. Yep. There's a decal on here obviously, and I'm not planning to buy any aftermarket for this, so I think it will be a great out of the box detail level. Here is the nose, maybe. I'll see soon. Also very nice rivets here, I just felt. They're not that visible on camera, but they are there. Now the smallest sprue in the kit, I think. It's this one, sprue E, and it contains, well, a side panel, I'm guessing, and the cockpit floor, maybe. It's just strange to see that there's 2 parts on a separate sprue for no reason, I guess. But it was packaged with 3 other sprues, so this small part here could have broken off or something. Now we get sprue letter D with the engine, some ordnance here, rockets or missiles or whatever, and the figure that I was talking about. Now I see it here, and it's a very nicely detailed sprue. The engine intakes, obviously. A wheel here, it's already molded with the, well, droop, so you don't have to sand it off or anything, which, well, I respect that. There's also 2 of these, by the way, so I guess you've got 2 pilots, which is interesting. I guess if you screw painting one up, you've got the other or something. For now I'll leave the clear parts in the foil, but they are here very nicely. There's all the rivets and so on around here. Some stuff for the cockpit in here. I just don't want to scratch them, but they are here. And the 2 last standard sprues before I show you the unique part of this kit, I guess, if you can call it that. Well, let's start with the smaller one. So this is one of your drop tanks, or the drop tank. I'm not actually quite sure what size this is, because it's probably in gallons, because it's, you know, American, and I don't really know drop tank sizes either way. More ordnance related stuff, I'm guessing, and a pylon here. Very, very nicely detailed, everything. And whoa, this is a very nicely detailed sprue here also. The cockpit bathtub, I guess you can call it, which is very nice. You don't have to add on too much parts, all the details are already on here. Very, very nice. This is probably part of the bottom of the aircraft. More of the wheels here. and then another side panel here, these two, and your landing gear legs here. I'll show them this way, here. And looking at it, they are molded as one part, I think, which eliminates that nasty seam usually across them, which is very nice. Your ejection seat up here, also very nicely detailed. I just dropped it blue. Either way, it's not catching focus, but it's there. And now getting onto the special part of the kit. Oh yeah, let's not forget the masks also. It kind of looks like a white sheet on camera, but there are stuff here. It's all engraved. Wheels and then canopy, I'm guessing this part is, which is all good. This is the magic. So, first of all, this is basically the whole fuselage, and then you attach the cockpit on here, and then whatever is at the back of an A-10. I don't really know what one looks like at the back. A lot of nice rivets and panel lines here. All very nice to feel also. But this eliminates any seam across the middle. Although you will probably have a small seam here, but then again, that's something major. This is very nice. Then, the engine covers. These are also slide molded as one part. Again, a lot of nice rivets, and then the exhaust tips are also very nicely detailed. This again eliminates the seam running down probably half of here, then here or here, you know. Very nice engineering on this kit. And then there's another small bag in here which contains another nose option, I'm guessing. Part of the rotary gun or Gatling gun, and then a clear part which is probably the shield at the front. Well, that's it for the kit. I hope, well, you've been kind of convinced of this kit, or you just like the review, seeing some amazing engineering by Hobby 2000. I'm pretty sure they sold their tool, as I got told by Mac Models in Enhance. So I don't know who produces this kit now, or if anyone produces it still. But if you want to get one, then do some research, I guess, or I might find a good priced one and put in the link in the description or something. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Bye bye.